every single day could completely change your life. Not 1 year. Not 10 years. Just 1 hour, used the right way. The difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary one is often only 60 minutes. This is the story of a young man from a small American village who discovered that secret, and it changed everything. The small farming village of Willow Creek, Montana, was the kind of place where everybody knew everyone. Every morning the sun painted the wheat fields gold, tractors rumbled across dusty roads, and neighbors waved as they passed each other. Among the villagers lived a 24-year-old young man named Ethan Carter. Ethan wasn't lazy. He wasn't stupid. He wasn't unlucky. But somehow, year after year, his life never changed. Every morning he woke up before sunrise, helped his father on the family farm, fixed fences, fed cattle, repaired old machines, and returned home exhausted. Every evening he promised himself, "Tomorrow I'll start improving my life." Tomorrow never came. Instead, after dinner he would collapse onto the couch, scroll endlessly through social media, watch random videos, complain about successful people, and finally fall asleep. The next day looked exactly like the one before. Weeks became months. Months became years. Nothing changed. One Saturday afternoon, while delivering vegetables to the village market, Ethan noticed an old man sitting alone outside a tiny bookstore. Everyone in Willow Creek called him Mr. Walter. Nobody knew much about him except one thing. People who spent time talking with him often changed their lives. Some started successful businesses. Some returned to college. Some rebuilt broken families. Others simply became happier. Curious, Ethan walked over. "Good afternoon, sir." The old man smiled warmly. "Good afternoon, Ethan." Ethan looked surprised. "You know my name?" Mr. Walter laughed softly. "In a small village, everybody knows everybody." Ethan smiled. Then the old man asked a question that instantly made him uncomfortable. "Tell me, are you happy with your life?" Ethan hesitated. "I guess, it's okay." The old man slowly shook his head. "No. You don't sound like someone who's okay. You sound like someone who's given up." Those words hit Ethan harder than he expected. Nobody had ever spoken to him like that. Trying to defend himself, Ethan replied, "I work hard every day. I don't waste time. I'm just waiting for the right opportunity." Mr. Walter nodded. "Everyone says they're waiting. But very few people are actually preparing." Ethan frowned. "What do you mean?" The old man reached into his worn leather bag and pulled out 2 identical glass jars. He placed them on the wooden table. Both jars were completely empty. He then handed Ethan 60 tiny blue marbles. "What do you see?" 2 empty jars. And 60 marbles. Mr. Walter smiled. "Exactly." He dropped 1 marble into the first jar. Clink. Imagine every marble represents just 1 hour. Only 1 hour. He dropped another. Clink. If you invested 1 hour every single day learning a valuable skill. Another marble. Reading books. Another marble. Improving your health. Another marble. Or building your future. The sound of marbles echoed through the quiet afternoon. Then he pushed the second empty jar toward Ethan. This jar represents the same 60 hours. He slowly swept every marble off the table. They scattered across the ground. Children nearby laughed as they rolled under benches. Mr. Walter looked directly into Ethan's eyes. This is what happens when 1 hour disappears into endless scrolling, complaining, excuses, and distractions. The time is gone. The opportunity is gone. And eventually, so is the life you could have lived. For the first time in years, Ethan had no answer. The village suddenly felt strangely quiet. The wind moved gently through the trees. Even the birds seemed silent. That night Ethan couldn't sleep. In his mind. 1 hour. Just 1 hour. He opened his phone as usual. His thumb automatically moved toward his favorite entertainment app. Then, he stopped. He looked at the clock. 8 p.m. Exactly 1 free hour before bedtime. He stared at the screen for nearly a minute. Finally, he turned the phone off, walked to the dusty bookshelf in the corner of his room, picked up an old book his grandfather had left behind years ago, sat by the window, and began reading. He had no idea that this single decision would become the beginning of a life no one in Willow Creek could have imagined. The next morning, Ethan woke up before sunrise just like every other day. Nothing around him had changed. The same old farmhouse. The same dirt road. The same field stretching toward the horizon. The same chores waiting for him. Yet somehow, Ethan felt different. Not because his life had improved overnight, but because, for the first time in years, he had taken control of one single hour. That evening, after another exhausting day on the farm, his phone buzzed. His friends were inviting him to the local diner. "Come on, Ethan. Everybody's here." For a moment, he almost said yes. Then he remembered Mr. Walter's words. People wait for opportunity. Winners prepare for it. He politely replied, "I'll join you another day." His friends laughed in the group chat. "Studying now? Trying to become a millionaire? Don't forget us when you're famous." Ethan smiled. He didn't argue. He simply put the phone face down and opened another book. 1 hour. Exactly 60 minutes. When the timer ended, he closed the book. Not because he wanted to stop, but because he had promised himself that no matter how tired he felt, he would protect that 1 hour every single day. Days turned into weeks. Every evening at exactly 8 o'clock, Ethan disappeared into his room. Sometimes he read books about money. Sometimes he watched online courses on business. Sometimes he practiced writing. Other nights he learned about marketing, communication, and leadership. His progress felt painfully slow. Some nights he understood nothing. Some chapters had to be read 3 times. Some lessons made his head hurt. More than once, he whispered to himself, "Maybe this isn't worth it." But then he remembered something written inside his grandfather's old book. A tree grows underground long before anyone sees its branches. Those words became his daily reminder. One afternoon, while repairing a broken tractor, Ethan met Mr. Walter again. The old man watched him quietly. "So, how's your 1 hour?" Ethan sighed. "I don't think anything is happening. I've spent almost a month learning. I still live on the same farm. I still earn the same money. I still feel ordinary." Mr. Walter smiled. Then he pointed toward a nearby cornfield. "What do you see?" "Corn. What was here 2 months ago?" "Nothing." "And what was happening underground?" Ethan stayed silent. The old man continued. "Roots. Strong roots. No one applauds roots. No one takes pictures of roots. But without roots, there is no harvest." Ethan finally understood. Success always begins where nobody is watching. As the weeks passed, people in Willow Creek started noticing little changes. Ethan no longer complained. He stopped blaming bad luck. He spoke with more confidence. He listened more than he talked. Even his posture changed.